If you're preparing a file to send to a commercial printer and you want to have bleeds, which is any ink that goes all the way to the edge of the page, you need to include crop marks to show the printer where to center and eventually trim the page. Unlike Adobe Illustrator and Adobe InDesign, which most layout artists use for their final layout and pre-press production work, Photoshop doesn't have an automatic crop marks command. So if you want to use Photoshop, you have to make your own crop marks. Here's how. Okay, let's start by making a new file. File new. Let's change this to the dimensions that you're using for your print ad assignment, 7.5 by 10, resolution of 300, and CMYK color. And now let's put some guides on there, just like we did with the Illustrator example. And in this case, we'll put the guides all the way at each edge, and then we'll extend the canvas in the next step. Create the extra space or the margin area for the bleed part of our image that's going to go off the edge of the page. To do this, we go into Image, Canvas Size, and make sure Relative is checked here, and let's add a 1/2 inch all the way around. Usually when you're working with a commercial printer, a 1/4 inch or even 1/8 of an inch is sufficient, but we'll use a 1/2 inch here so you can see it well. And there you can see the extra space that we have. Okay, let's go ahead and bring our image in now. We'll do File, Place Embedded. Select our file, bring it in, run it up there about like we did before, and place the image. So now let's assume that you've finished your layout work. You've got something that looks about the same as what we came up with in the Illustrator exercise, and so now you're ready to create the crop marks. First, let's merge all these layers that you were working with before, so we have fewer layers in play. And now we're ready to create the crop marks. To do this, we'll use the Line tool. We can find the Line tool here in the Shapes area. So we select the Line tool. Let's have no stroke, black fill. I'm going to put a fairly heavy stroke on so you can see it. To constrain the line into a horizontal or vertical, if you hold down the Shift key while you drag, click and drag, I'm going to put those right on the guides. Vertical now. And there are the lines. So now we're done with the guides. So let's get rid of those and we can see the lines that we made a little bit better. Go to View, Clear Guides, and now we can see the lines. And these will become our crop marks. However, we don't want these lines all the way around because they might end up actually getting printed. All we want are the corners, which will become the crop marks. To do that, we're going to use the Rectangle tool. So let's make a new layer to that will become our white rectangle that's going to knock out most of the crop marks. A new layer. I'm going to go click on the Rectangle tool. This time we'd like to have a white fill instead of a black fill, and we're just going to drag this rectangle so that it covers up all of our lines, leaving just a little bit on each corner and also taking out the intersection. Okay, so there it has now covered up the crop marks. Now let's merge these two layers here that are visible so that they are one layer, and that's our cropping area. Now to see the entire ad, we highlight our ad layout, and let's bring it to the top layer, and there you can see the ad with the crop marks on the edges ready for the printer. Save that as a PDF and you're finished.